everybody. Mark over here at Twanger's Turntable. Hope this all finds you well. Cheers. Say hello to everybody that I haven't seen in a while. My videos have been few and far between, but we're back today. And what better occasion than to show you some new records that I picked up. I want to start off with just the news of Nicko and hanging up his toolkit for his drumming career with Iron Maiden after 42 years. I got that email yesterday as part of the Maiden fan club, so all the best to Nicko. Been a great stretch of albums. I mean, right from Peace of Mind there that you saw at the start. And yeah, so pretty good run. One of my favorite drummers. Major influence and inspiration to play drums was Nicko, as was Clive, but yeah, when Nicko came on that Peace of Mind album, wow, just something that I had not heard. I hadn't heard his stuff prior with Pat Travers or Trust. At that point, I hadn't. I've since, and his various other projects. So yeah, all the best to Nicko. He provided a hell of a career, and I would suggest most Maiden fans can't even imagine Maiden now with a different drummer. Although we'll find out with. Dude from British Lion, can't even remember his name right now. That's not important. It's a send-off to Nicko, and I did do a little short there as a send-off, a Sunday send-off. I've been doing a lot of shorts primarily. So yeah, with that, we'll get into showing a few new vinyl that I picked up. I'll start off with the one that I had been most anticipating the most, and almost 50 years in the making. Yeah, so of course it's the remix and reissue of Priest's debut Rock-a-Rolla. I mean, I was going to do a video where I was actually revealing it, opening it, but there's been so many of those now that I found that was just more of the same. So I did pre-order that back in September. I think the release date was November 22nd, but I just got mine this past Friday, like 2 days ago. So it was a long time coming. I don't know what the delay was, but yeah, it's really good. I've been listening to it through the streaming service. It's got that nice embossed cover with the classic bottle cap. I do have another issue with the alternative art on it. But yeah, a nice gatefold and the height sticker there. For those who have not seen it, I'll bring that as close as I can. Hopefully you can see that. If you had a hard time reading that, just pause it, back it up and pause it. But yeah, some great early photos of that era with with Gull Records, and of course Mr. Hinch on drums on this one. And that was one of the knocks on this album, is the production was never that great. But man, the drums on this remix, they really jump out. Now I've been listening to it, like I say, with streaming. But that's the most noticeable thing to my ears. But the whole damn thing is incredible. I've always liked this one. I know it probably doesn't rank very high in a lot of people's rankings. I don't know. But for me, I've always considered this one of my favorite Priest albums. But I tend to lean towards the early Priest anyway. I mean, Hard to Beat, Sad Wings of Destiny. Stained Class is my favorite for sure. Most times. It's almost another one of those bands where whatever I'm listening to tends to be like, wow, this is the best Priest album there is. But for the most part. But this was in dire need of a remix the way it has, and I'm so glad. It's really, really sounds great. So I finally got that. Been wanting that for a while. Well, since it became available, and I pre-ordered mine in September. The next one I'm going to pull up here is one that I had on cassette, and it was just a blank cassette, buddy, and I think it was probably Neil. I want to credit Neil. Neil had more music than anybody I knew, at least metal music. So that's the only person I could think that maybe copied it for me, and it only had 4 or 5 songs on it. I can't even remember, with no title other than the name of the band, and the band is Heavy Load. They recorded this in 1980, released in 81, Metal Conquest. But this is the reissue, 2024, and it came with an extra little CD of previously unreleased tracks, which was really appealing to me. It's basically two brothers, the Wahlquist brothers from Sweden, but although not British, certainly part of that new wave of British heavy metal movement of the late 70s, early 80s. Not officially, or, you know, I'm also reading this Martin Popoff book, and they're not listed in here, but I can understand. They weren't technically part of the new wave of British heavy metal, nor were a lot of bands that were from other parts of the world, but equally just as good. I mean, this is I love this album, and the songs I had, I never thought I'd see it on vinyl, and here we go. It's the reissue. It's done really well. Again, on my modest system, that's all I'm ever really talking about here. It came with a nice liner booklet, and talking about that era of you know, and unfortunately what happened with their studio. They went into they started a studio, a recording studio, and you know, had I think it burnt right down. I'm not sure the details of that, but anyway, they certainly had some challenges. But it's a really good one if you like that early new wave of British heavy metal, new album sound. I would suggest, had you not heard of these guys, check it out. I think it's relatively, well, actually the last time I looked, I think it was around 50, 60 bucks. So I was going to say relatively inexpensive, but no, it's not. That's a lot for a vinyl, in my opinion, and so I don't tend to splurge very often for ones like that. Next up, one I picked up here locally, just and they're a local band. I didn't even know about them. They were playing in the store I was in, and to me, I said to the guy, I said, you know, I know that's not Rose Tattoo and it's not AC/DC, but it has that sound of, you know, the Crocus, all those bands that were very reminiscent to AC/DC. And he said, no, it's a local band. They're called Steel Panther. So a band out of Montreal. It's called Muscle Rock. And that's what's playing in the background. You know, just thought I'd drop the needle on it and let it play while I was doing this video. So yeah, I dig its sound. I mean, I dig the sound. It's definitely got that. I guess that's probably a good term for it, that muscle rock. It's party rock, and it's really good. Now the guy that was working at the Beatnik, I'll leave a little, maybe a link if I can leave a link here in Montreal. Said they have since replaced the guitar player that was that featured on this album, but it's really good. I think it was only released in Germany, but he had a copy there. But I'm sure you can go online and source it if you dig it. Check it out. Definitely decent album. I like it. It's a good rocker. Next one I picked up is, I mentioned before, I've always known of the Ramones. I always enjoyed the Ramones, but never had anything significant in my collection. I had a couple of cassettes in Rock and Roll High School, I think, which I went to see that movie back in the day with my older sister. She was kind of into the Ramones, and so I've known about them, but I never really bought much of their vinyl. So now I have their debut, and I also had, what was the other one? Road to Ruin. I had that one, and then I picked this one up. I guess this was their second. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this is their second album, Leave Home, on the Sire label. But this is obviously a reissue. This would have been a second album. What would that be? 76? 75, 76, I'm guessing. So I think Road to Ruin was 77. I don't know. Again, late to the whole Ramones. That sounds like I hadn't heard of them, so maybe I shouldn't say it that way, but certainly didn't have any of their vinyl. So I'm looking to change that, because everything I've heard, I really dig of the Ramones. It's just kind of like, what's not to like? It's pretty awesome stuff. So got that, and then just the rest of them are just a couple of used ones, with the exception of one. I'll save that other one for last, but I picked up this one from '77. Detective were on the Swan Song label. Both of their albums were released in '77. I have the other one as well. Yeah, it's a good AOR rock album. I liked it. I've heard it before. Somebody I knew had it, I'm sure, because I was quite familiar with it when I did spin it. And like I said, I do have the other one, so saw that it was still sealed. So when I did take it out, I made sure that the vinyl itself was in good shape. I have it over here in my drying rack because I cleaned it. There it is. It's on the Swan Song label. Yeah, it's mint. It's mint. There's no anomalies on it or you know, scratches or anything. It was still sealed in the sleeve, so there was no issue with it. And it was really cheap, so that was a big determining factor too. So then I picked up this one. I like Rory Gallagher, so I think this is his third, fourth album. I don't know. Don't have a whole lot of Rory Gallagher, but it's an awesome album. Yeah, and then like I say, I've got one more I'll show you that I picked up, and I saw Vance over at the hangar, the Zepp hangar. Vance at the Zepp Pearl channel. Go check them out if you haven't. But the 30th anniversary of Vitology. So I didn't have this on vinyl. I've got the first two, 10 and Versus. But I didn't have this one. I had this on cassette. I have it on compact disc, but never on vinyl. So decided to go grab it. So inspired by Vance, if you will. Decent. It totally captures that era at the time of what the band was going through with their issues with Ticketmaster, I think it was, or whatnot, and just it's some social commentary of certainly what their principles and beliefs were can be heard here, and it's a good record. I've always dug Pearl Jam for the most part. I fell off a little bit after No Code or Yield, somewhere in there, but I do like him in, I guess, in Rations. This is a good one though, and it does have one little defect on one of the records. I'm not sure I'll be able to clean it. If not, I'll have to send it back. But came with this nice another one with a good little booklet inside here as well. Just lyrics and art and other stuff, the song listings, and that's it. That's essentially what I picked up. Here's the vinyl for that Heavy Load Metal Conquest with the hype sticker. I'll show you that hype sticker there. You can read that. Unreleased tracks on the vinyl and 3-track bonus CD. Includes 8-page booklet. It's well worth, I didn't pay that much for it. I just find a lot of times if you do find them at local record stores, like the mom and pop shops, they typically are less money than Amazon. And perhaps naive of me, but I never thought that was the case. I usually just pick up used stuff. Oh, I do have one more. Bear with me, because this was one I didn't expect to find, so I'm going to grab it. So yeah, this one, it's just a 45, and I wasn't even, well, not to say I wasn't looking for it. I did have it on my want list on my Discogs, but it just happened to be there, sitting on the counter when I was talking to this guy at Beatnik, and so it's a single, a Deep Purple single, and it's not in this it says RCA, but it's not RCA, it's Warner Brothers, from 1972. So they released this single. Never before. That wasn't the song that as soon as I saw this, I knew it was what it was backed with, because oftentimes I'll frequent the live streams of the vinyl archivist, Patrick, and John, and Vance is often on there. Very knowledgeable people, Mark, many more. But yeah, it's backed with When a Blind Man Cries, and it's an incredible tune. I've known about it for a long time, but it's not on any Deep Purple album, which I'm not the most knowledgeable Deep Purple fan. I love Deep Purple, but I didn't know it had never been on an album, and to find that was awesome. It's in good condition. I already did a good spin clean on it and played it. It sounds great. But that's it. That's some of the pickups I've had. I've got some more, but I was going to wait and do that with my grandson in a video he wanted to do while we spin some Symptoms of Lunacy. Probably next time, probably over the holidays, I don't know. But I hope you enjoyed that, and again, congrats to Nicko on an amazing career with Iron Maiden, Trust, and Travers, and the stuff he did with Ian Gillan and crew. Tony Iommi, they did a project there, I can't remember what it's called. But yeah, that's it. I hope to see you soon. I don't know when that'll be. I never have any set schedule here at Twanger's Turntable. It's just whenever I have the time to do a video, or when I have the inspiration even sometimes, you know. That's essentially why I do a lot of the shorts. They're quick, they're easy, I have time for that. And I hope you enjoy those if you've been watching them. I will continue to try and do those. But until the next time, take care, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this. Go and check out these other things that I mentioned. I'll leave as many links as I can think of. And yeah, see you next time, everyone. Take care.